All right, this is June 21st. I'm L. Jermaine Russell. Welcome to Stocks and Squats. I anticipate that whatever I share with you during this last week of trading is helpful for you because I like reviewing the stocks that I traded to see where I actually had some losses or where I gained some lessons that I can be able to pass along. Sometimes we think that our losses are really just losses and not anything else, but it truly is much more than that. It's more of gaining understanding so you can be able to progress a lot later in your trading. So with that being said, I want to go over a couple of trades that I made during the week. I know that I have gold up right now, and particularly I look at gold because I've traded it before. I found success in gold, trading it or day trading, or if not, holding it overnight. But this is just one of a couple of stocks that I look at when it comes to value stocks and things that you can hold for the long term. Eventually, this will be a long term hold. I'm thinking that it will start moving. I just don't know when. I've been quite early on a lot of my stocks that when I've traded them, so I want to not be as early, or at least exhibit a little bit more patience. But when I talk about patience, let's go to a stock that I traded not this past week, but the week prior to, was APT. And I remember saying it in the previous video how I was not, I traded this, and when I traded it, this was like on the 8th or the ninth. You know, I traded it anticipating that it would make this move, and it finally did make this move, and it's right now it closed at 1670. APT was a stock that was manufacturing masks, like the mask that's been going around for the coronavirus. People need to be able to protect their face and all that stuff, or protect their nose, protect their lungs, really from everybody. I was just impatient, and knowing that what I know when it comes to trading on the market, that patience is probably one of the number one tools. But I really stuck to the very first number one rule, was to cut my losses, and I did. But even though I cut my loss, it did show that this stock would move higher, and it did. Not only did it go to $15 like I expected, it went to 17, like 1750 or something like that. So these are the kind of stocks that I typically look at, and I can see that this will potentially run a little bit higher. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes by go to $20 sometime this upcoming week. I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised at some point that it tests $25. And I'm looking back over here, $20 and then maybe 25. So that's just a little review that I got out of this stock a whole lot earlier than I should have. There was quite a couple of movers, and I'm thinking I found a hack when it comes to some of these spikers. So I harp on the EMA so much just because I like when stocks move like this, when they're just trading slightly on or above the EMAs, because all the EMAs are one solid line. I have the 50, the 100, and the 200 EMA pretty much blended here, right? And when it made this first spike, I did not really take notice of it. And I traded it on the 16th, and I was able to get in and sell, right? I traded this actually a couple of times, and I wanted to be in a whole lot more than when I got in. If I just held this stock, I could have got out at $54. But when you're day trading and you see the pullbacks, you really don't want to be a part of those pullbacks, particularly. But I got in earlier. I got in like what I think it was 12.29, and then I sold at 13.10, and particularly because what it did was have this spike and pulled back. So I'm on the 5-day chart. Each candlestick represents 2 minutes, and when I look at this stock, I particularly look at the fact of how it pulled back and that pullback was efficient enough for me to let me know that when it comes to like that 10:30, maybe 11, somewhere between 10:30 and 11, that's the perfect time to buy, right? 10:30, 11, after a stock already made a major move. I can't say that for all stocks. I only say this for the stocks that have some type of news, some type of catalyst going behind it, and also the volume. The volume is essentially key for any type of stock like this. So, when we have this Urban One Bank or Urban One network is pretty much a television company, communications company that caters to African Americans, right, to the black population. So, being that I knew that this might be one of a couple of stocks that might move just because of the Black Lives Matter movement. So I'm looking on Twitter and I want to see if people are talking about black businesses matter. I typed that in because I felt like black businesses matter. I'm a black male. So that is something that I'm pretty biased to. But, with that being said, it pretty much showed technically how this stock can really move and how it can move exponentially. Not only did the 50 and the 100 EMA crossover, the 200 didn't, but that's okay because when the 100 came over, it still showed that exponential move onto the upside. And though I was pretty much afraid to get on in, if I just bought the breakout at 1520, I was already looking at other stocks at this point. But if I bought the breakout at 1520, I would have got in at 15, maybe $16 and rode the wave up. I sold up here at this $30 area, but I didn't buy it at 1520 or $16. I bought at 29.20 or 29.90. Sold at, I think it was 38.90. Can't really see it up here, but that's essentially where I sold before it essentially collapsed. I wanted to get $40, but when I started looking at the level two wasn't really showing me any ask for $40, so I brought it down. To 38. So this was just one move, and I only bought 50 shares because once again I was afraid of how it would move. So I said, I already got in earlier. I got my trade in. I will take a smaller position just because I wanted to save. I wanted to lower my risk, and that it happened. I lowered my risk. I still was able to get profitable, and I found a good trade here. Let's go to the next one. Because the next stock, essentially, the next stock will show that I could be a little bit more patient. And I traded this on my Robinhood account. Essentially, I should have held this a little bit longer, but this was in tandem to UONE as well. I forgot what the K stands for. I forgot what the K. I think it's some with shareholders or something. I forgot. But essentially, the last letter on the ticker symbol has something specific to the stock. It's not international. It's not warrants. Can't remember right now at the time being. And I'm slightly not rushing, but I want to make sure that I get this video out, particularly because I'm doing the yoga training right now, and I only have an hour. And this this training will go on for the next until 9 p.m. And I want to start my research for the next day when the training is over. So I'm going from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and I got a little wiggle room during the day to make a trade if it suits me while I'm in this training. So that's why I'm rushing slightly a little bit. But as you can tell, this stock did the same thing, right? The EMAs are very, very close to each other. Had a strong gap up here, a strong percentage day here, and then it had another strong percentage day here, right? So when I particularly got into the stock, I essentially said that I'm getting in, and I was telling friends in my group that I'm getting in, and I got in on Wednesday. No, I got in before Wednesday because I missed this whole move right here. I was so mad. But I got in here on Tuesday, and I got in at 360. And the reason why I even got in at 360, one, I bought earlier than typically. I bought in around that 10-15 area. I'm sorry you don't see it on this chart because, Robinhood, it pretty much sucked when it shows this. But I got in at 360 and I sold at 330 because I didn't think it was going to go any higher when it was here. And I was like, man, this sucks. I thought it was supposed to go. And when I looked at the hour chart, I thought it was supposed to go exponentially higher because that is exactly what I told my friends. I said, this is supposed to go exponentially higher. Um, I was looking more on this here, and not only did it go exponentially higher, it went surpassed what I thought. I did not know it was going to go to $8. I was extremely pissed when I saw this. I left it alone. I did not come back to it. Um, it just it it was just holding all the right movements on the technical aspects where you have. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong day. I said that I bought it on Tuesday. I actually bought it on Thursday. Um, because I bought it at 360 and that's not 360. So I bought it right around here. At the same time, everything is still the same. I bought it a little bit earlier than I should have. I bought it around 315, not 330, and waited for the pullback. And so 330 was more of that price point where I thought, I can lower my risk there. And that really shows on the minute chart. When you look at the minute chart, you see where the 200 EMA, that's where the stock price end up coming down to. So even though right here we're seeing on the hour chart that we have a strong candlestick here, we have a strong candlestick here. We also need to take note of the MACD, and the MACD was also showing some uptrend here too. And I said, hey, this should go up higher exponentially. I knew it was going to go to fours, but I didn't know how high it was going to go, and it ended up going to the sixes. I thought it could possibly test this 560 area. I thought it could test at least the fives, but it was just not giving me that movement at the time, and I got shook out, right? And that's where my patience really runs thin on stocks like these, because even though I might have gotten in at a higher risk price, that 360 instead of 330, I could have gotten in and held and just waited, right? But holding and hoping is also not a strategy that I like holding on to. I do like being in a position where I'm already positive, meaning that I got in at the lowest price possible, and now when it trades, it's going to trade higher because of that lowest price possible that I got. This stock I can only see going back down. One, because there were some insiders selling of some shares, so, and it's overbought. There's a lot going on. I would need to see this pull back some, so I can kind of see it pulling back maybe to the high twos, if not three, at a $3 area. Maybe 360 it pulls back to. I just don't see it holding these levels for too long. But that's my take on that. I really didn't profit on there at all. We can go to the next one, GNMK, which was a stock that I bought, and I bought back here and I sold back here, knowing that it was going to make this move, right? And you see this exponential move that it made here. Once that 50 EMA crossed over the 200, look at this. It's a work of art. So beautiful, so beautiful. And then it pulls back, right? And then when it pulls back, it held over this, held at this 920, 930-ish area. And once again, my patience ran thin. I got in at 243, probably a little bit higher because I was expecting to get in at the 220 area. And not only did it go higher, it not only did it do what that I thought it was going to do, it went higher, right? I sold the day before it actually spiked, which has typically been happening. I got in originally. No, I sold back here, and then I got back in. Right. I sold. And I think I made profit on that day when I sold. Yeah. So I bought in at 11.76, and I sold at 12.48, which was a little over 60 cents a share. And then I bought back in here, anticipating this move, this dollar move to the upside. Um, I really just, got afraid that it was going to pull back even further. Um, and the reason why I should not have sold, is because once it started to come to this um, oversold price, the most it's going to do is just bounce back up from there. And that's the key. That's the hard part, is recognizing when it's going to make that bounce. You know, and if it makes that bounce, because I've seen it where, and the next stock that I go over, which is the one that I lost the most, I lost the most on that trade because I was being stubborn, thinking that, hey, it could bounce and then go higher. Um, it doesn't. Those same rules don't apply. These rules don't apply to that stock when I get back to it. When I get to it, on this stock itself, once it goes to oversold, it tends to bounce and doesn't go any lower than that. And it was holding support right around that 12 area, right? It held support here. It kind of did it here, even though it traded a little bit higher. Kind of did it here, did it here. This was the breakout level right over here and over here. So, I had more than enough reason why I should hold on to the stock than to sell it. And I sold it. All right. So, really looking at the bounce and giving that bounce a time of day. Once it go on to, and the reason why I even have it on the 2 minute chart, because it's the closest to the 1 minute chart, which the 1 minute chart shows you where all the EMAs are and where to actually buy. So like I said, that 12.20-ish area would have been a whole lot better to buy than where I bought it at, which was over here in that 12.43 area. If I just bought that, right around here at this 12.20 near that 20-day EMA, or 20 EMA, then I would have been a whole lot better, or in a better position than to selling it right here. So that entry level was more key than anything. I didn't want to lose $1 a share like I did on APT. All right, so really keep that in mind as as stocks trade. And plus, we don't know. We know that this stock, just like most stocks are in biotech, have been focused on COVID. So this would have been a whole another reason why to hold on to this stock and really make it, really have it as a fundamental case on holding it and making sure that maybe on the pullbacks that you buy some more, because as we can tell, it doesn't really pull back heavily, right? We can go to the hour chart. On the hour chart, it might have shown some type of resistance here at the 1260-ish area. It was showing some resistance, but even though when it pulled back, it showed a strong green candlestick. And I cannot say that I would have known that this was going to happen. I had no idea that this gap was going to happen when the day opened on Friday, but I did know, or had very suspicion, that it was going to break out of this trading range that it was at. This trading range between 1210 and 1260-ish was that range. And if I just bought a little bit lower in price, I could have reduced my risk and allowed this stock to run its course, to do what I thought it was going to do. So this is also another great learning lesson, to look at not just the chart pattern itself, but the MACD and the RSI, and really give it a chance to cover where it needs to cover. This should go a little bit higher. It should retest this 1365 area, and then if it does, all of this will be overbought and stuff like that. I don't know if I will get back into this, just because the price that I was in at was the better price than where I would get in at now. Same thing with APT. The price is probably it should go up. Both GNMK and APT both should go up, but I had the better price point when I first got in those stocks before shaking myself out, getting scared, biting my own nails, right? The last stock I want to go into, and this one did the worst harm to me, was CARV, which was another, for me, Black Businesses Matter stock. I was very, very stubborn, and as you can even tell when you look at the EMAs, you see how the EMAs are, and this is going to be very key when we start looking at other stocks and how they play. Actually, there was another stock that's kind of doing that. It's not Landry. There's another stock I remember seeing it when people were talking about it on Twitter. I think it begins with a B as in boy. Where are you? Do I even? I'm gonna find out. I'm going to remember before I'm done with this video. But as you can tell, this stock pattern kind of similar to UONEK. Kind of similar. So it's gonna be intriguing to see how they both move, and if they do move in tandem. But this one, UONEK, ended on a green note, and CARV did not. Right, it ended on a red note on a red day. So I'm not 100% sure how this would really move a maneuver. But essentially, I bought this at this $15.30 area, and I put in my sell order at $18. I'm so pissed because you know what happened. I know you know what happened. Not only did my order did not execute, but look how close it got. It got to 1757. My sell order just executed. I would not even be having this type of discussion right now. I would be talking about how I knew that I was going to make money and all this stuff on this stock, but I didn't. Right? I even lowered my my buy-in price to that. I think it got lowered to about $15.40, I believe. So I was anticipating this spike. That everyone was going to try to rush, and I was like, oh, it's going to rush to 18, and it didn't rush to 18. it did not. Man, this is so upsetting. So, like, not only did it go, not only did my very first thing off the top, I do not buy pre-market. I do not. But and I will relive this emotion to the day that I become a millionaire in stock trading, or at least in day trading. The reason why I hold on to these rules so hard fast is because not only was I up for the week, I was up a little under 1,300 for the week. I only reason why I was up is because I held on to those rules. Don't buy pre-market. Cut your losses quickly. Ride the wave on up. Sell into strength. Buy low when the price is at the 200 EMA on the intraday chart. Start overlapping time charts and seeing where the hour and the day is in comparison to the minute. You start doing these things consistently, it becomes a habitual ritual on profiting. A habitual ritual on profiting. A habitual ritual of profiting. When you stay consistent with your rules, a habitual ritual on profiting. So, with that being said, not only was I not in my habitual ritual of profiting, I was still in bed, upset about UONEK. I was here, and I remember watching this stock run up here, and I had a trader friend who he profited on it, and as an overnight hold, which was I love overnight holds. Overnight holds is probably my biggest bread and butter winner thus far. Hold it overnight, sell it in the pre-market. That's exactly what happened here. Hold it overnight, sell it in the pre-market. This has been the quintessential earner for me thus far. But when you go and start looking at, hey, this stock is moving too, I should probably buy it. And it goes against all the things that you've done. Let's say I did buy this the night before. Maybe I would have bought this at like 12:20, maybe 12:30, because typically around 12:30, that's when I'm starting to look at stocks to move for the next day, right? Maybe I would have done that, right? And then I would have sold in the pre-market like around 8, 7 or 8. Typically when 7 happens, when 7 comes around, that's when I'm looking to sell, right? I'm not looking to hold this during the day. I'm looking to sell in the pre-market. Um, I sat in bed looking at UNONEK, and I said I should be profiting too. I bought CARV, and then not only did I not profit, I got hit with a halt, and then with that halt, it started to come down. Not only did I get hit with the halt, I got stubborn because I said, hey, this stock should go up. I deserve to be profitable here. And not only did it not go up, the 50 EMA crossed below the 200 EMA. And not only did I not pay attention to that, not only did I not care about that, I said, you know what? I think I should probably throw in the towel. And I threw in the towel, not only almost erasing all of my profits from what I took one trade after another, but I sat here contemplating how disciplined I am. So I'm using this as a prime example on discipline, right? Because if you have a bread and butter pattern, a bread and butter strategy, a ritual, a habitual ritual of profiting, then this should not even be a part of your trading strategy for the day, right? I have a habitual ritual for profiting, and I went totally against it, right? And yes, the market changes, and the dynamics of the market shows themselves a little bit differently and all that stuff. I get it, but at the same time, you need to stay steadfast in the way that you trade, right? And I'm saying you, really meaning me, because I'm looking at a camera or looking at my screen, because I still haven't received my new screen for my laptop, so you can't see me as I'm talking. So I just see the reflection of my screen as I'm looking at the trading platform itself. But at the end of the day, right? If you have a habitual ritual for profiting, stick to it. You stick to it, and that goes for almost everything else in life. I think if you know that you have a ritual and you do it, like you wake up, like for me, I wake up in the morning. It's usually around 6 a.m., maybe 6:30. I'll start getting up. From 6:30, I know my apartment is not dirty, but I still clean it. I burn some sage. I chant. I chant because I practice Buddhism. I chant. I write into my journal. Then I start looking at stuff that's happening in the day, and when I start looking at stuff that's happening, during the trading day, it's now about 7:15, right? So at this point, I'm probably ready to get out of whatever stock that I was holding the night before, right? So with all that being said, that's just me waking up from 6 to get into 7, right? And I haven't even talked about what happens from 7 to 9:30, right? So and typically I chant like around 8, maybe 7:30 actually, because by the time 7:30 has come, I already earned my profits for the day, and now I can chant in peace without thinking about what stock is doing what, So so if you have your habitual ritual for profiting, maybe leave that in the comments below. Maybe share your habitual ritual for profiting, and so you can inform others that, hey, this is what I do, and it keeps you accountable, like how I'm trying to keep myself accountable right now. So thank you for listening. Hopefully this was informative. I like having stocks like this that humble me, because throughout the whole week I've been just earning, and I didn't go over all the stocks, right? Like let's see, like other than that, I also bought ARTW. I think I bought this more on my I bought this on my Robinhood account. That's right, because I was selling the spike, or in the, yeah, I sold into the spike. I told you GMNK, DAYI. I bought this and I sold, and this looked like it still has some opportunity to go a little bit higher, but I bought at 850, and once it wasn't cracking 9, I sold it. It looks like it wants to test, 9 again, so who knows. FWP, I sold this. No, I didn't even buy you. I'm sorry. I don't even, that's right. I didn't even end up buying you. I don't even know why you're in my list. I did not buy LIVX. I was telling people what if they should buy it or not. So I had to keep it on my actual chart with me, chart pattern with me. I did buy Mark, and I sold Mark because it wasn't doing what I thought it was going to do. It went up to 267. I bought it in 260s, and I sold it at 250s just because, you see what it's doing. Wasn't going to do it. Wasn't going to do it. FLGT. I bought you and I sold you. See, I bought it the night before in the after hours, and I sold it the day of, or in the pre-market in 1980. FUV. I bought this at 334 the day before, and I sold it in the pre-market at 367. I thought it was going to go higher. I thought it was going to test the fours, but it didn't. AYRO. This one I sold for a loss. It was actually what, 30 cent loss, about 30 cents. Yeah. So that one, And what did I do? What did I do on this one? This one I bought pre-market. This is something I don't do. Do not buy pre-market, Jermaine. Still bought a pre-market, right? So this was another reason why I ended up losing on that one. I told you ART. PRPX is one that I'm watching. I haven't bought this yet. I want to see this because Royalty Pharma is like a portfolio of biotech companies that have so many array of diseases that it's trying to cure. So I'm watching this. Didn't buy it, but I'm watching, definitely, for sure. Neon. I ended up buying Neon at 850, and I sold. Yes, this was another one that actually I should not even have bought, right? And the reason why I bought this is because I got caught up in the hype. I got caught up in the hype of the way that it was going to sanitize, the way that people are pressing elevator buttons. And this was up already too much. This was already up too much. On the day, it went too high. Maybe it might go up higher tomorrow, on tomorrow being Monday, June 22nd. I'm not 100% sure. It spiked too much. The volume was already too low. Like, it already trades like 47,000 on average. And then on this spike, it went up 3 million. This was too much. This was a sign to say get out. Not even get out. Ignore. Because it already did what it needed to do. And then I ended up taking $1 loss on this one. So this was another stock on top of on top of Carver, CARV, that I should have just left alone. HUSN, did I even buy you? No, because you're not even part of a trading strategy. But the crazy part is with this one is that when HUSN was going to spike, I was calling it was going to spike because of the news that it had in the pre-market, not in the pre-market, in the after hours. So it had some really, I think it was Thursday? I'm trying to remember what it was, because I knew it was like all these bank stocks were just moving, and this was one of them. And even though the EMAs weren't as close, I just saw that this spike was here, and at the time it wasn't overbought, and I said at the most, I'm anticipating it going to at least 120. It went past that, and this kept on running in the after hours. I didn't buy it, but this was one that I wish I got in on, because I just knew it was going to move. So unfortunately, didn't get in. But Neon, definitely Neon Carver, and what was the other one? Neon Carver, and I feel like there was one, oh, Mark. Neon Carver and Mark. Those are my biggest losses for the week. You know, like I said, I was close to breaking 1300, and because of my stubbornness on both of them, I end up losing. And it's whatever. So thank you so much once again for taking in my trading plans. You can tell that I still have a little bit of work to do, a little bit of ironing out, but once I go over it and I see the flaws in my mistakes, it just better prepares me for the next trading day, if not the trading week. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave this be. I need to get ready for this next training session, yoga training session. It's cool learning the meridians and stuff like that. That goes along with the yoga postures. So hopefully, I'll learn a whole lot so I can be able to teach you even more on the squat side of my YouTube channel. So hopefully I'll be able to give you even more information, not just to heal your pockets, but to heal your mind, body, and spirit, those emotions. So thank you again. Click like or subscribe when you get a chance to. I greatly appreciate you, and I will see you on the next video.